Tonight, we take you into a hidden world, a place authorities say gave birth to a violent domestic terror plot in Michigan, foiled by the FBI. We traveled to the state talking to militia members who disavow the extremists. We also spoke with Governor Gretchen Whitmer about the alleged plot against her and the disturbing questions it raises as we head into Election Day.
This is gorgeous up here. You can buy 5 acres or 3 acres here and do whatever you want.
Deep Woods, Michigan, the rural town of Luther. Jim Chinevere has been hunting in these parts for decades.
We're only a quarter mile back in the woods. And you know what? Who would know? You can do guns and explosives back here, and you would never know. I am not probably maybe a half a mile, quarter mile from here. And I never knew this was here. Never knew. This is like unbelievable to me. Unbelievable.
It's here federal authorities say his neighbor took part planning a vicious plot against Michigan's governor. 14 men accused of being homegrown terrorists. The ugly vitriol around the national fight over economic freedoms versus government lockdowns allegedly coming to life. The 7 men shown have pled not guilty.
We're now on that chilling plot to kidnap and kill Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
The FBI releases disturbing new details.
Hatred, bigotry, and violence have no place in the great state of Michigan. Those forceful words from Governor Whitmer.
Among those accused, these men: 42-year-old Pete Musico, 38-year-old Sean Fix, a truck driver, and 25-year-old Ty Garbin, an airplane mechanic. Charging documents allege a paramilitary plan that included storming Michigan's Capitol building with explosives, disguising an assassin as a pizza delivery man, and sending bombs, codenamed Cupcakes. Tonight, we're taking you up close.
We'll get up there and we'll go as far as we can go.
And inside this stunning case, from that remote training ground to just released evidence including encrypted text messages, photos, and videos.
They had an undercover agent. They had a number of paid informants.
Investigators come to you and say, we are looking at this plot to violently kidnap you.
If you heard about this fact pattern and you were describing something like ISIS, you wouldn't be surprised. This is happening right here in the United States of America. That's domestic terrorism.
Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer, the state's second ever female governor, and the alleged target of this group. A self-styled militia who authorities say call themselves the Wolverine Watchmen. As a mother, I thought immediately, how do you tell your children that their mother's life is in danger?
We see some of the most vile things. My kids have seen it. We've had people show up on the front lawn with automatic rifles, so I've been very blunt with my kids. Today I'm issuing a stay home, stay safe executive order for all Michiganders.
At the height of the coronavirus pandemic, governors across the country shut down their states.
The stay home order is an aggressive measure to keep the most people we can safe in Michigan. It is the most aggressive of any state in the country.
Within a month, anti-lockdown demonstrations erupt outside the state's capital. Throngs of livid protesters demanding that businesses be allowed to reopen.
Doesn't matter what crisis there is, you only have the power that you have.
A crowd even pouring into the Capitol building, engaging in a tense standoff with a wall of law enforcement.
We've seen paramilitary organizations appear in public in an offensive capacity, gearing up heavily armed, opposing government policies with which they disagree.
Among the protesters, militia groups carrying automatic rifles, suited up in body armor, showing their support.
And you're here today for what reason?
To simply let people know that they can assemble peacefully and not be harassed, and to make sure everybody has a right to their free speech.
Dana Nessel is Michigan's top law enforcement officer.
We've always had an issue with militia-type organizations in Michigan, but we've seen a real resurgency in recent years.
Before long, President Trump takes aim squarely at Governor Whitmer.
Your governor's got you shut down. It doesn't look it here, but...
What exactly happened in terms of those threats to you after the president referred to you as that woman from Michigan?
We saw the graphic nature of threats against me and my family grow exponentially. I mean, it turned the heat up.
And this is really a dog whistle to the unlawful armed militias. They feel like they have some sort of license from, the highest authority in the country.
In April, President Trump even tweeted, "Liberate Minnesota, Virginia, and Michigan, 3 states with Democratic governors."
When you say liberate, that is a call to action. It's a rallying cry, and I think it's a call to arms. And that's really, I think, what it turned out to be.
In Michigan's capital, in the backyard of the governor's mansion, Governor Whitmer described the avalanche of threats to her life.
I think people remember those pictures from our state capitol where people with weapons were showing up and intimidating legislators and threatening me at that point. Now, we have come to find that some of the members of this plot were actually at that event.
Do you think President Trump gives safe harbor to some of these elements of domestic terrorism?
I think the hesitancy to even call out white supremacy creates space for groups that are looking for anything to hang their hat on.
We're one of the few states in the United States where all of our state, the top executive offices are held by women. The President of the United States has taken time to criticize all 3 of us by name on Twitter.
What does that say to you?
Do I think that's misogynistic? Yeah, absolutely I do.
And yet, do you think she might have overreached on the lockdown measures?
I think her measures drastically decreased the number of infections, and the numbers don't lie.
There's hate, there's anger, there's resentment, there's people that are losing their businesses and their livelihood.
Michael Lockemer and his wife Wendy are members of one of the oldest modern militias in Michigan. They reject the violence associated with militia culture, but defend the independent streak in their communities.
It's like Boy Scouts with guns.
Right.
So what kind of training?
Training involves everything from land navigation, map and compass, without using modern electronics. Just a lot of skills that our parents and our grandparents grew up with.
My understanding is that you've crossed paths with some of these alleged kidnap plotters.
The first time I was aware of them was back when the Flint water crisis happened.
When you say them, you mean these particular suspects?
Yeah, Bill and Mike.
Right.
Twin brothers, Michael and William Null. This is them at that anti-lockdown protest, armed with AR-15, extra ammo strapped to their chests, a mere stone's throw from the governor's office. They're charged with providing material support to a terrorist organization. Both have pled not guilty.
What was your impression of them?
They were like us. They were there to help their communities.
They were quiet. They weren't waving their rifles around or screaming.
They could get boisterous at events.
According to Lockemer, the brothers were fixtures at militia events and known for their confrontational behavior, allegedly finding a home with the Wolverine Watchmen.
The Wolverine Watchmen had ties to multiple other groups across state lines, and this is not just a Michigan problem, this is an American problem.
The government releasing 8 months' worth of encrypted texts, one stating, "Take pics of the bridge," in order, authorities say, to plant a bomb as a distraction. Others talking about an apparent assassination, suggesting have one person go to her house, knock on the door. When she answers, just cap her.
They're not just calling the governor a tyrant, but they're talking about putting a cap in her, which is kind of, a little bit like B-movie gangster talk. It's talking about shooting her.
This photo, taken by a government informant, part of the evidence released by investigators, showing suspect Adam Fox, binoculars up.
They allegedly went out and surveilled locations. They looked for the governor's vacation home and the official summer residence of the governor. They went to the location allegedly to go see what they would do.
Fox, the alleged ringleader shown in this video, drawing his weapons, a long gun, then his pistol in front of a cache of weapons. He also showed off his taser. And here, a group appearing to run commando drills out of a vehicle. This dash cam video showing one of the suspects being pulled over during a routine traffic stop.
Yep, you got your driver's license and proof of insurance with you?
The FBI says he later texted the group saying he wanted to kill the officers who pulled him over. As the plot against Governor Whitmer made national headlines, the president continued his vitriolic attacks over this weekend while visiting her home state.
And then I guess they said she was threatened, right? She was threatened. And she blamed me.
I know initially President Trump said, you owed him gratitude and you should thank him. And then he doubled down on his criticism of you. When you reached out to the White House, did you get any response?
I made this request directly to the vice president on 2 occasions. And he acknowledged hearing my request, but no action was ever taken. And that's where it ends, unfortunately. It's where it began and where it ended.
When we come back,
look at right here.
Searching for answers. A glimpse inside what the FBI says was a terrorist training ground, plotting murder and mayhem.
Me and my wife, we would hear gunshots going boom, 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 boom.
And the night this tiny town awoke to a federal raid.
That night, there were so many helicopters, and there were so many cars coming up and down the road.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.